guys. It's Life and Times once again, like always, and we're here with a very, you know what, guys? We're just the best guests, guys. We're here with the,
Yay,
you know what
it's
I'm saying?
me.
It's me, guys. You know, this is
I'm the
somebody.
best guest.
I wish I had like a banner that could just drop down, like like with like balloons and like fucking confetti and shit. But guys, one of the most talented people that I know. Great music maker, you know, just the whole nine style, the whole just aesthetic god. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, bud.
We're here. We're here with the one and only. Introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Reddish Blu.
Wow.
Woo!
Ooh, look at,
Wait,
just
should
like
I be looking at you or should I?
No, you can talk to me.
Just looking at you.
There's
Okay,
there's
no one
camera
else is here.
There's no camera here. There's no one
okay.
else here.
Okay.
It's just us. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, bud. How are you?
Oh, you know, I'm hot, but this is very, 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 very overdue.
I know.
You know, we should have been to this
I know.
years ago.
Literally, though.
Even though I've only had this for a year, but still, well, actually, I think a year. Yeah, it's only been like I think
It's only been a year, and I feel like now is also the perfect time for me to be interviewed, just because I've been so consistent.
exactly. And before we get into all that, I always say though, like timing is always key. You know what I'm saying?
It
So,
is.
but before we get into all of that, I want to walk through your background for people that don't know who you might be or whatever the case is. Let's just run through it. You know what I'm
Let's do
saying?
it. Let's
so,
do it.
so where are you from? Where? Give me your background. Let's start there.
So I'm originally from Massachusetts, but I moved to LA 6.5-ish years ago. But then I was in New York for a summer. So mostly in LA though, since 2017, basically.
Jesus
so is
Christ.
that's how many? 7?
It's
6. It's 6.
It's
It's
years.
coming up
six.
on 7.
It's coming up on 7.
seven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you take out if you count the summer as a year.
No, literally.
Exactly.
though.
I mean, because I feel like you spend a summer in one place. I feel like
And we
that's,
take out COVID, then it's like 5.
and it's like 5. Like, you know, COVID really. You know what's crazy? I always think about that. Like they definitely stole a year from me.
I know.
Like a whole.
It's
like,
crazy.
Like I'm not gonna lie, I was still outside, but like obviously, like it's like you didn't get to
Right.
Like,
I feel like everybody feels that way too, because
especially people that were in school. I'm happy I wasn't like in school
same.
during like that, because it's like, yo, you lost a whole year of
Yeah.
everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you were a senior, like, no dances, no all that done.
I feel like it affects everybody differently depending on where they're at.
In their life.
Yeah, for sure. Because then if you're in your 30s, for somebody who's in like their mid 30s, I feel like that sucks because you're still young, but you're older.
You're older.
And then when you're in high school, it's taking away from your high school years, which are also important. But then when you're in your 20s, it's like, dude, it just was not it if you're in your 20s, because it's
Cause those
why.
I feel like you can lump it in with like the high school shit, because it's just such a developing time.
Yeah.
Where you just had to like figure out like, oh, well, what am I gonna do now? Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially out here. You know what I'm saying?
sure.
With such a like seeing like bustling cities, like just no cars on the street, or like,
I
you know
know.
what I'm saying? Like,
Everything was shut down.
that shit was insane,
Dude, it was crazy.
but it was crazy times.
And then now people are still getting COVID, and now everybody's out, and it's just like, okay, did anything even change from that? Because people are still doing what they were doing before, and people
Yeah.
are still getting sick, and now everyone's disregarded it, which is, I guess there's like a medium here, because you
It's
know,
like the flu, though,
not to
no.
get all
yeah, no,
down that route, but you
yeah,
know what I mean? No, seriously.
No, I'm saying I would think it's kind of like the idea of the don't murder me, guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it's like the outlook of like the flu, because like realistically, like everyone should not say that even if you didn't get vaccinated, whatever. We're not even gonna go down that route. But even if you did, or whatever the case is, just being outside is gonna help your immune system and such.
right.
So kind of as things kind of happen, because I'm sure everyone had to catch it. Even if you didn't,
Some
catch
people
it, like,
didn't. It's crazy because I never tested positive for it. I was really sick at some points, and I swore that like I thought I had COVID, but I tested negative. And then so many people around me had tested positive. I think my theory is that it has something to do with just your biology, and some people are able to catch it and others are immune to it. naturally, or just don't have that incline to be susceptible to it, because just like some people don't get the flu, you know what I mean? But
or even when they get
this was crazy though. People really died from this. Like it was bad. It was really bad. And that's why like can be bad.
That's why it kind of fucks you up when people are like, and this is again, I might cut this out, but like when people say like, oh, it's fake. It's like, nah, bro. Like
no,
too many people.
Not.
Too many people.
I knew someone personally who passed away from it. Actually, yeah. So
yeah,
I wasn't that close with them, but. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I had a family member kind of go because of it. So it's like, yeah, it's super sad. But I was like, nah, it was real. Because I mean, you're not just gonna they killed off a lot of people. Like it killed off a crazy amount of people.
So it's sad like, and just
So that's what I'm saying. So, but I mean, like I said, we said that to say that it took a great deal of our life away. You know what I'm saying? But so from there, what was it like growing up in Massachusetts? Because it's Boston. Not Boston.
I'm like 40 minutes south of Boston,
okay.
so I'm not city girl vibes. You know what I mean?
You're a country girl?
Yes, you knew this, but let me explain to the people.
Yeah,
Basically,
exactly.
I grew up on a farm, horseback riding with like horses, donkeys, cows, pigs, chickens, all at separate times, kind of as in like a timeline, because my parents are divorced, so both of my parents actually have farms.
That's crazy.
So we had like different animals on each farm, but grew up that type of life, graduated with I think less than 100 kids, small town vibes, country vibes, but close enough to the city where like I wasn't fully away from that. I could always drive in there, like to Boston, 45 minutes, or Worcester, which was like 15 minutes away.
Worcester?
Yeah, it's a very...
I've never heard of Worcester, Massachusetts.
So basically for my senior year, I went to college there, and I took college credits as a part of a dual enrollment program, because I was just over being in a small town. I wanted to subject myself to more just like diversity of culture and just differences, because I wanted to change, obviously. And I went to school there, and it's basically just like a small city that's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but you know how around this area it's kind of not mills and stuff, but it's like a lot of
like factory.
Yeah, it's like
stuff.
factory,
very industrial.
Yeah, exactly, that type of vibe. I don't know where I was going with that, but
all right, no, I mean it's because I was curious what Worcester was like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I always think of I think I said this in the last one, but like Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, all Connecticut, all those states just remind me of George Washington. Like that's all.
Yeah, because it's New England. Like all of that. There's like a section of the East Coast, which is like the New England settlers came there, and it has a lot of history in terms of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's to say that's why I was so curious, because you don't have an accent either.
No, but my parents do.
I bet
they so I'm Italian. I'm like 50% Italian, basically. And my mom and my dad are both half, and they have like that accent. You know what I mean? Like amazing. That whole Boston accent, but it's generational. It's kind of generational. So my parents have it, and a lot of my friends' parents have it. But then I know some people my age who have it, but they're from like they're from Boston. You know what I mean? A specific part of Boston, like the north or south end. So they grew up really around that. Yeah. But I don't talk like that. Both my parents totally have it, especially my dad. Like, it's definitely,
could only imagine. Boston, I just kind of heard like what one really sounded maybe like a month or two ago, and I'm like, God damn, like that's, I don't know if I can, like that's almost stronger than like a like
who had the accent? Who was
it was I was on a phone with somebody, and they're in Boston, and I'm talking to I think an Uber driver. Okay, and I said, damn, where's he from? She said, they all sound like this. And I said, really? I said, God damn.
They do, dude. And I didn't even realize it until I moved here. And then some of my friends talked to, heard my dad on the phone or talked to my dad on the phone. They were like, your dad has such a strong Boston accent. And I didn't even really conceptualize that growing up. It was just my dad's voice. And then I come here and everybody's saying that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's I feel like it's a niche accent.
Yeah.
Because you can't really... You can't it's like almost taking like a New York accent and a really strong Philadelphia accent and like just crushing them together.
It's different. It's similar but different.
It's really interesting.
Especially the New York accent and the Boston accent kind of have like
they have their similarities.
They favored each other's mannerisms too. Like I'm watching The Sopranos right now, and I'm not done. I'm on season 5.
Oh, you're doing a great job.
No, it's so good.
It's a great show.
But a lot of their mannerisms and the way that they talk partially probably because I'm Italian, but also the accent and everything is just like that whole New England vibe. It's familiar, the
Yeah.
sense of the act, like just you know what I mean,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
loudness,
yeah.
like
The loudness, the potency of how everything they say just feels like they really mean it.
It's
Like, you know
funny.
what I'm
Or
saying?
how they answer the phone. I'm like, my dad literally answers the phone like that every time. He's like, yeah. Like, he just says, yeah. In that accent, though.
That's actually hilarious. So coming from there, and obviously, so you got out of college, I'm going to guess, and then was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to go to LA
so I had dreams of wanting to move here to pursue music, and I was really honing in on the idea of it and channeling that energy. And then somebody reached out to me from a label to fly me out to LA, and I had a meeting, and I ended up just staying. I didn't sign with the label, but the people are really cool. It wasn't right for me at the time, but I still like them. Like, they're cool people. But if it wasn't for that, I definitely would have came out here. But the way, like, the order of how everything happened kind of just flowed energetically, and I just stayed. Like, it was just the right thing for me, and I decided that I wanted to stay.
And you were already making music in Massachusetts, or
Yep.
how did that? Yeah, because how did your music journey kind of start? You kind of jumped ahead, but I was curious.
So I was listening to a lot of. I was working at a tanning salon at the time, actually. In Worcester.
I would have loved to meet Tanning Salon Red. That sounds great.
I was 17 working in a tanning salon in Worcester, and I was listening to a lot of Flume and Spooky Black and just a lot of ambient melodic type of artists and bands. And SZA too. Love SZA so much.
Shout out SZA.
Always, like for 10 years now I've been listening. But
shout out.
For real. I was listening to a bunch of people while I was working there, and I just had a thought cross my mind because I've always wanted to get into entertainment involving arts. Like when I was really young, I wanted to be an actress on Disney Channel. Like I just loved that vibe because they sing and they act, you know what I mean?
They do the whole nine.
They do it all. So I wanted to do that when I was really young, and I've always painted. I was in school in art so I've been painting. I'm a painter and a singer. I just like to do a bunch of things, like tap into everything artistically. But I was having a moment where I just thought that maybe making music was where I really wanted to go, and it kind of just clicked with me in an instant. I was like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. This is my passion, and this is the dream that I'm supposed to follow, because at this point I was already halfway done with my senior year, and I just didn't see myself wanting to live a corporate lifestyle or have a restricted, like that type of lifestyle, which I get that is for some people, and I do think structure is really important to have sometimes, but it just, none of it appealed to me, and I wasn't passionate about it, and I'm just very passionate about music, so I just decided then and there that I wanted to do it. And I was listening to beats on YouTube, and I think tweeting out stuff, because I kind of was on Twitter a little bit at the time, and I just had some mutuals who made music, so people sent me beats and I wrote stuff. And then I found a engineer to record me in Worcester at the studio, and I recorded my first song. And then I came up with the name Reddish Blu because of my hair color, and I've just kept it this whole time.
But I've had been Reddish Blu?
Yep, even before the music, it was purple when I was like 16 or 15.
Makes sense.
Maybe, yeah. And I've just kept it because it embodies everything. It's not everything to the point, though, where I think that I'm defined by my hair and it has to be purple in order for me to be Reddish Blu, because Reddish Blu is just so much more than the color of my hair. It's the whole energy around it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a feeling.
It is. It's a feeling, and it's just what I'm embodying, but it works, and I like it. And a lot of people, when I get recognized in public or I go to a show or just in general, they're associating me with my hair. So when my hair was blonde, I had that period.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, when my hair was blonde, people loved that, but I wasn't getting as recognized as I am now having my purple hair back. I go out and I get so much love from people at like underground shows or random places like Trader Joe's. Just randomly I'll run into somebody.
Big Trader Joe's.
Sometimes, yeah, and like there's so much love even being on the level that I'm at right now, so I can really appreciate that.
I would say, guys, you can't tell because obviously black and white, but her hair is very purple.
Especially with this light right here,
Yeah,
too. It's
really
making
good.
it really purple.
It's really going crazy. I'm
It's
not gonna
really
lie.
purple.
It's doing you a justice. You know what I'm saying? It's really just
Yeah,
driving it home.
it
But no, I
is. It's
mean,
vibrant.
bad. But yes, I'm saying. So I think is that's great. Because that was the next thing was I was gonna say like so the Reddish Blue kind of stemmed from okay, but I mean I
Yeah,
think that's a good thing too that you know yourself as an artist
for sure.
or at least we're able to at some point at least in the beginning kind of like make your stand like okay like this is where I'm gonna draw this from, but I'm gonna make it more
Right.
of a you know of a feeling or something that is you know non tangible that you know that you can hear in the music or hear in my demeanor, but not really be like oh well she just you know she has blonde hair now so now she's not
Right.
the same person. Like that'd be insane for you to just change your hair and be
No,
like a different person.
literally.
Like
I feel like brand recognition is important. But
very.
when I came up with the name at the studio that day, I actually had a thought that I might want to change it. And
To
I
what?
didn't know, I just didn't know if I was going to stick with Reddish Blue. Like, I really didn't. And when I came up with it, I was asking the engineer at the time, we were Googling words that have to do with the color purple.
That's actually fire.
Yeah.
And it's
Wait,
so
should we wait for
yeah,
this?
let's give it 2 seconds.
Okay.
Well, actually, you'll never hear it.
Really?
Yeah, you'll never hear it. I mean, Wizard. You can't imagine the shit I'll cut out of this audio. I'm top 5.
Okay. Okay.
Shout out Pro Tools.
Yeah, literally. Shout out Pro Tools
Shout out Pro Tools
and
for
Logic
sure.
Pro X because that's what I use is Logic Pro X.
Really?
But, yes,
I could never understand how to like navigate it and like
everyone says that, but it's what I've grown up with. Okay, but wait, back to the color
yeah.
thing.
We're gonna get back to it.
So, we were Googling words that have to do with purple, and then obviously like violet pops up, lavender, the basic stuff, and then one of them was Reddish Blue, and I was reading it, and the engineer was like, "What do you think about Reddish Blue?" And at the time, I was just kind of, I don't really know. It's cool to release it under SoundCloud because I really just wanted an alias to release my music under on SoundCloud without using my name. Because I wanted, just that was the beginning of who I was gonna, my brand and just everything. So I decided to use Reddish Blue without the E at the end just to make it a little different, cute,
where's the reddish
blue? No, the blue, like BLUE.
Oh,
so
we took
you're talking
about the okay.
No,
okay.
yeah, we took the E off of the blue. And then I just kept it. There was one point where maybe a year after that, where I kind of just was going through my own stage of growth and realizations. And I really just wanted to change my artist name at that point because I wanted to be different. And I felt I just wasn't happy with myself at the time. Looking back at it, but I'm really glad that I kept my name and I just grew with myself and I looked at it like I was trying to run away from myself and I'm glad that I didn't and I'm glad that I just kept the name and I've grown with it because it's just I love it so much. I literally think it's the best.
I mean, also
artist name.
It's catchy.
It's different
and it's different. And like no one really has.
It's an adjective too. There's a few other people with adjective names because it's describing something like reddish blue. Yeah. So that's really cool to me.
Oh, it's unique. You know what I'm saying? But I think you kind of did stumble across a very important part that, when you, as an artist, when you hit these, I would say rough patches or these pitfalls in your career, and, the first thing you want to do is either, quit and revamp yourself or whatever the case is, instead of just kind of hunkering down and moving through these problems as the person that you decided to be. I think that's very becoming, and that's a lot of artists don't really neither they don't talk about it enough, or
definitely
all of a sudden they're a new person and it's like the other one's getting old.
I feel like rebranding is definitely
dangerous if you don't do it right.
Maybe I feel like it depends on what the root reasoning is as to why you're rebranding. I think it's great sometimes. I think it's being reborn. You're reinventing yourself, and I love that aspect of it, and I think it's really cool. But if you're going to rebrand yourself because you're running away from yourself as an artist or from your own personal life and things that you've gone through, then that's where it can get harmful to yourself. You know what I mean? Because you just got to believe in yourself. and keep going.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. No,
artistically and in general.
No, yeah, the whole nine. I mean, I said if you decided to do it, you gotta stand by it.
Because a lot of artists rebrand when they're trying to run away from themselves. It seems like.
Yeah, and I think, and the reason I said dangerous is because, I mean, like I said, most people rebrand if the last album didn't do well, or like they haven't dropped in a while, so it's like, you know what I mean? So it's like those situations where it's like that could easily be fixed with better music or whatever the case is.
Right.
But then they just become a whole different person, have to start from zero, and it's like, gang, like it was hard enough for you to get the number that you're at now. Like, what I'm saying? Imagine if you restart, like, you know what I'm saying, and then make the same mistakes you did the first time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you have to stay in your own, the lane that you picked, and be able to really learn from those mistakes.
And feel secure in yourself, too. That's a huge one. Because for me personally, it wasn't even something that I went through with when I did have thoughts of changing my name. I think it was late 2016 maybe. It had nothing to do with me as an artist and everything personal with myself. I just was, I don't know, just wasn't happy with the way things were, and I wanted to feel fresh. But life is about ups and downs. So you got to embrace every moment. You know what I mean? Not everything is going to be here all the time. Things can go here. That's how life is for artists, for people, anybody, in general, really. Everybody that exists.
Yeah, and anybody that exists, you're fucking right. So from there, we figured it out. Got the call. I mean, I'm sure your music was doing. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah. So at that point, I had 3 songs out, maybe not maybe. I don't even know. I can't remember.
Point,
yeah, it wasn't that many. It was before I dropped You're So Beautiful. So I had Love Isn't Forever, When I Get Too Sad, and or maybe not When I Get Too Sad.
I don't know.
I can't remember. It's
I'll listen to that When You Get Too Sad today.
No, it was when I Get Too Sad was out actually. Love Isn't Forever, and then a few, maybe 5 songs I had out because I had some older songs, maybe 2 that I took off of SoundCloud that you can find on YouTube that I literally can't even remember the name of right now. Oh, This Love and Not Here But Here. Okay, so yeah, maybe 5 songs out at the time, but what really caught traction was When I Get Too Sad because Pigeons and Planes posted it on YouTube. So I think that put a lot of eyes on me for the first time, and it drew people in. And at that time specifically is when a lot of people were paying attention to blog posts, and
blogs were really,
it was really the way to see what artists were coming up at that time, or
when journalism really made sense. Yeah, what was that? The Pigeons and Planes post, how was that? What did that feel like? Because that song was very honest.
That was crazy because at this time in my life, this is 2017, but in either 2013 or 2014, I got into spirituality and manifesting before it had ever trended on TikTok, because this is years before TikTok was even a thing. So that's just been something that I had implemented into my life about around the time I was making music, or a year or 2 before that. And I kind of incorporated that into the beginning of me making music. But yeah, I almost got distracted for a second because I was remembering how I got into spirituality is when I was working at Panera, and I had this coworker that
got a lot of jobs, but
I know
you got a lot of odd jobs. I fuck with you.
I've worked almost every job. I'm not gonna lie, I've worked a lot of jobs.
The tanning salon thing is really fucking me up.
Wait, what one?
The tanning salon is really fucking me up. I'm not even gonna lie. Because it's then if you think about it, you were doing a tanning salon with someone that's not, it don't even get that hot out there.
I'm not tan right now, but I do get tan when I'm in the sun. I just kind of am on my skincare journey right now. I'm I wear sunscreen a lot, but I do like to tan. I'm just not in the sun enough. And when I do get tan, I get a nice little glow, you know what I mean? It looks healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks nice and fresh.
There you go.
Back to what I was saying. With the interview, I got an email from Jacob from Pigeons and Planes, and literally maybe a week or 2 before that, I kind of was just putting that energy out there that I wanted to have a blog interview me, and I really loved Pigeons and Planes at the time, and I kept up with what they posted. And then they emailed me, and that was kind of like a whoa, this is crazy moment, because I was, whatever. And he emailed me to interview me. And when I had that interview, they posted it on Complex and Pigeons and Planes, and how it felt when that happened.
Too.
Yeah, literally. Early, but also like they were established at the time for sure.
I feel like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like Pigeons and Planes, especially at that time, was probably the biggest, or if not,
it was definitely,
or at least they had better artists. They weren't
for
so
sure.
Mainstream in a sense. So, but anyway,
because I have like Daily Chiefers, Lyrical Lemonade interview,
yeah,
like, all of that, because that I've like known Lyrical Lemonade since it started. Yeah, basically. But it felt like it was meant to happen. I don't want to say it felt surreal or anything, because it just felt like it was aligned with what I had envisioned for myself and what I knew I wanted for myself, and essentially knew it was going to happen, but it felt really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, you work towards it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, I feel like people do the whole manifestation thing and then forget that they have to do the work. Like, I feel like that's
that's real.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the biggest part of like.
And it's easy to fall into that with New Age spirituality and stuff. And I can't lie, partially in some aspects, I had fallen into that a little bit. But you quickly learn that that's just not the case, you know?
Yeah.
And when you're young, it's easy to fall into
making
you're learning, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like anything else, but it's just, I think the whole spirituality thing is cool, especially I mean, in this freelance thing or trying to make music. I mean, shit, you gotta believe in something. You know what I'm saying?
You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Above all.
Yeah, above all. But,
and God.
Yeah, but if you're gonna believe in,
if that's what you believe in, I do.
I mean, hey,
yeah,
we see it. So, but if it's gonna be, something of that nature, I just feel like I'm seeing a lot of people doing like, oh man, if I asked for this, it's like, yo, you still gotta do the work.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still got to do it. So just don't think like
it goes hand in hand. Like, you can't just ask for things. Sometimes you can get those things, but like I said, you can learn soon that you have to keep working. It goes hand in hand. It's like an energy. It's a push, and
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, like I said, even if you do get it though, too, you got to keep it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So you still, at the end of the day, regardless, the word of the day is work. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
And be consistent. Yeah. I think that's important, because I'm learning now, and I've been making music for, 7 years. Well, technically for a long time, because I was in chorus in middle school and elementary school, and I wrote songs when I was like 9 years old. So I've been making music actually for a long time, if we're going to put it like that.
But commercial stuff like this, there's a date on that.
For sure.
But no, I think that's interesting. So like I said, you get the interview, like, okay, cool, the article, the interview, and then it's like, okay, then you move to LA.
Yeah, it was like all within like a month. Literally, it was like the interviews and then the phone calls, and then me going to LA and having the meetings and just meeting so many people, because I had a mutual on Twitter, and I told her that I was going to LA, and we kind of briefly talked about her living situation and whatever, and she was like, you can stay here if you want. And at that point, I just kind of wanted to run away from everything, or get away from everything that was back home, because I felt like it was no longer serving me spiritually and in general. And it really honestly wasn't. So I went to LA, and I just stayed at my friend's house, and he had multiple people in the house. And I met a lot of like my GBC friends at the time, and it was very artist driven. I lived with Kauai, rest in peace. He was one of my good friends. He was my roommate. So like that group of people, it was really cool, and it was definitely an experience. 2017 was a very interesting year for me.
How to be alive, you know what I'm saying?
It was crazy.
The dark ages, but I feel it. It
was different. It had a different feeling in the air.
Man, I've always, and not to get too far into the story, but I feel like that feeling, not just say it's gone, but I feel like it's, I guess when they say that, you never really know things until, you never appreciate it until it's gone.
I know. It is gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's not here no more. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's I remember, I think even like it was like before before it was before COVID or after COVID. I mean, there were shows out here every week, and
I
you know, it's
know.
multiple shows every week, and you know what I'm saying. It felt like the culture itself was really like, okay, like this is alive now. We're just, you know what I'm saying. And
It
now,
felt very
yeah,
solid within
yeah.
that time, but it's shifted so much, and now there's just so many things branching off of each music genre and groups of people, and like,
Which
you
is
know,
good
there's
though.
opium now, and like, you know what I mean?
Opium.
Just different sections of, because the underground, it used to kind of feel like, okay, there's like the emo kids, and then there's the like Cash Cardi era type kid. You know what I mean? It was
Or the
kind of two
awful
things.
records version.
Right.
And I
Okay.
feel
Yeah. I
like that was
love Awful Records. Like,
what
love.
they did to Father was not right.
I
Father
don't know about
deserves
that.
a lot of credit and a lot of his flowers that no one gives him. And I
Yeah.
feel like
1000%.
that's fucked up. But if, you know, Father, if you see this, come on, we would love to talk to you over here.
He's an OG.
Man, he's done a lot, and I mean, I just think it's cool to at least know your, you know, to know your background. You know, say know where this shit is happening. Because I mean, you are still. I mean, even with you being like singing and stuff like that, I mean, you're still part of that handful of people that
A
was doing
thousand
that too.
percent.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So
for me, I feel like it's important to know your background and know who was before you in a sense, because at that time when I moved out here, there was a lot of artists that I wasn't familiar with who had made a big impact on the underground at the time I was there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? When I first came out here. So like the people before me I became educated on, and now, you know, like I know about their music. And I think it's really important to tap in with the up and coming new people too, like
yeah,
the young kids. Not even just, when I say new artists, I don't even mean new in the sense like they're fresh on the scene, because I
yeah,
don't think that's always important. I think that like even artists who have been around for years could be new in a sense, depending on how they're being perceived and who's tuned in at the right time. You know what I mean? Like look
yeah,
at Lucky, like, you know what I mean? Like he's
yeah.
up right now. And he's been around for a long time. Like I
Yeah.
was listening to him in like high school, like 10th grade.
What I will say, I'm just gonna just throw this out here. That is a very good example of wait your turn.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I
And
feel
keep
like,
going and
keep
being
going.
consistent. Yeah.
And be consistent
For sure.
Because that's somebody that for sure. And the same thing goes for, you know, you guys could do the math, but you know the same people that's in that group. A lot of them niggas waited their turn. And now it's working. Now everything is working out. I feel like we're all in a rush to get
There's
that
so
big
many
break.
examples of that too. Like
Yeah.
SZA had been around for so long. She was on Rihanna's project Anti, and she was popular. Don't get me wrong.
Wasn't she?
She was. And she's always been very popular and had like a solid fan base, but she really, really, really took off when she dropped Control. Yeah. So it just is about
That had a chance on it.
keep going, and then your turn, it will come up. You know what I mean? A lot of people give up, and when you give up is when things go south, because you stop believing in yourself, and then other people can't believe in somebody who doesn't believe in themselves. You just got to keep going.
Because what's the point?
Literally.
Like, you did all this work. I'm not about to do all this work just to
No.
just be like, all right, well.
And
that
it's
didn't
not
work
about
out.
just another thing about it is it's not just about being seen and being popular. Like you have to do this because you genuinely love what you do and you have a passion for it. Me personally, I know my music heals people and people relate to it and it makes people feel good. And if I can just spread that message to people and it's being perceived and like digested well, and like a lot of people enjoy it, like that makes me so happy. I want a ton of people to hear my music because I have faith in myself and know that the more people hear it, the more people are gonna catch on and love it, just because the people who know it now love it. You know what I mean? But I think back into the conversation of being tapped into what's new, a lot of these really young kids, like these like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, like coming up right now, like I try to tap into that music too, because I want to see what the youth is
Doing.
like, what they're doing, because everything is so different now than it was whatever, like 10 years ago even. Yeah, before I even made music, but I was still tapped into music.
Yeah, I mean, now it's feel like it's front and center. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for sure.
And then also too. I mean, obviously, still people are still recording in their room and stuff like that. But I mean,
Right.
shit. Now the little devices that they got now. I mean, shit. You know what I'm saying? She
Because
sounds
there's
clean.
levels. Yeah, there's levels to like the youth too. Because obviously we're considered the youth, but then there's like kids, like
Yeah.
literal kids.
Like
You know what I
jits,
mean?
yeah.
And it's really cool to see what these kids are doing. And I think when you're tapped in with like all like angles, like you know what I mean, of music and different generations, it gives you like a sort of different insight than other people have.
No, and I think it's important to. I mean, especially anybody that's in the same, field that we're all in and stuff like that. Like you said, I think it's important to talk to the people that are coming up. There's a amazing artist in Atlanta. His name is Brick Band Shorty. That's my boy. I fuck with Brick, and he kind of opened my eyes to see that like, oh, we're the next generation coming up under what you guys are doing, and he started naming a couple people, and I'm like, you know what? I guess I never really thought that.
Yeah.
Like, the people that we're talking about, or even people that shit like that, that people are looking up to you guys is like, okay, well, they're doing this, so we're about to try to, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And then the
right.
sounds be not similar, but just you can hear
Yeah,
hints
the
of like,
influence. The
yeah,
influence
it's
for
so
sure.
interesting, like. It just kind of shows that the train doesn't just stop with you guys. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
it keeps going and it keeps evolving
yeah,
for all people involved.
so,
And it's interesting in music because there's so many people that are a lot older than me and younger than me. So it's an industry where you're going to meet people from all different aspects of life who have different experiences and have grew up in different eras. You know what I mean?
That's why you can't know everything.
Yeah.
That's why it's impossible to know everything in this field. You can't be a master in this field. All you can do is just continue being a student like the whole nine. So
Always.
So moving on though, that was great. So moving on.
That is.
So you get out here. You're living in a crib. What was the next step for you? What was your goal when you got out here? Because I know after all that.
Yeah. So when I came out here, I was 19, young. At the time, I thought that I was older, I guess, or I felt older in my mind. But looking back on it, it's like, okay, I was young, like a teenager, essentially, just figuring out everything and how to navigate the world, coming from a very small town, going to a city where people move differently than where I'm from. You know what I mean? So definitely like a lot of life lessons, but I socialized a lot and I met a lot of people that I became close with and a lot of different musicians and just connected with people in different ways that I couldn't have in Massachusetts, and just created different sounds and experimented,
And then your first tape, do you ever?
I don't have a tape
Let's
out.
say like your first. I say tape, but I'm just saying.
No,
your
but people
first-
think I do, so like I wouldn't be surprised if you thought
in my head, I'm said tape, but I'm thinking like your first like
big song.
yeah, those first like 5 or 6 songs that you did when you were in LA, like, and then how they were perceived and so on and so forth. Like how did that go about? How did it make you feel? Like, you know what I'm saying?
So I did a song actually in Massachusetts called "It's You're So Beautiful." It's technically my biggest song I have out right now, even though one of my older songs lately just it got 100,000 streams last year and is like surpassing it, like super like it's just random. It's just going up right now. But I recorded it in Massachusetts, and then when I flew out to LA, I played it for these people at this label, and it was a moment where I was hesitating if I should play the song or not because I wasn't fully confident in it, because even the version that's out now is raw, not mixed vocals, literally just cutting out my breaths in the song. And I released it exactly like that, and it just so happens that people absolutely loved it and it went up. I hesitated showing it to these people, which this goes into like my theory that I believe is that if you lose more things you're losing more by holding yourself back instead of putting yourself out there to see what you can gain from that for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I forget, there's this quote, there's like this an exact quote and I cannot remember it off the top of my head. But I saw Tony Soprano say it on The Sopranos too, and I was like, wait, that's so true.
And now I think I know what you're talking about.
It's
I wish I had like a guy in the chair.
Dude, same.
So what's the...
So Tony Soprano actually said it on The Sopranos, and I had already been saying this prior, and I literally said it the same day, and then I watched the show and he said it, and it is more is lost by indecision than wrong decision.
Huh.
So if I
He
had
did say that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So if I had decided not to show this song, I would have lost so much. But I took not even the risk, because it was just kind of a light thought, but I showed them the song and they absolutely loved it, and they were like, you need to release that, and I put it out, and then it ended up getting on Fresh Finds, Nike Women's playlist, Libra playlist, Virgo playlist. It charted on the US top viral 50, and it went crazy. It went crazy.
It went
like,
super
people
crazy.
love that song. Yeah.
And then, I mean,
it was in the Glossier commercial, which is a nice.
I didn't know that.
I don't even know how to pronounce that. I should know how to pronounce that. But yeah, they're a very nice brand, makeup brand, skin.
Classy.
Just a fancy brand. It was on Hulu. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It went up.
And you weren't signed, right?
No, I've never been signed.
Yes, you did it all independent, which is I mean, which is the way to go. You know what I'm saying? So this is, you're not having to worry about paying anybody for the songs like that. Like all this kind of happened off the strength of you just essentially doing the work and believing that
no promo, independently have and currently have many chances to sign. Just haven't found the right situation for me.
What's the right situation?
The right situation would be.
You tell them.
Well, I guess it comes down to like legal aspects of it, because there have been situations where I thought may be good for me, but then my lawyer had gone over the contract and was like, nope, this is not for you. Just, I want to have creative control, and to make and keep my masters. I think that's.
Yeah, you keep your masters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you want to keep you need your masters, but you don't want to sign your publishing away.
Just some situations where I was like, whoa, okay, yeah, that's not what I want. Even if other people may have signed it, because it would seem appealing to a lot of people, not for me and what I'm going for.
No, I mean,
but the right thing will come along.
I mean, shit.
Maybe if it doesn't, that's okay, because so many people like love being independent, and I'm like cool with either. Like I'd be happy with a label that I knew is best for me, but being independent, doing it on my own, and then eventually having my own team, since I don't really have a team right now. Like I would like a manager. I'd like, like the whole.
You got me, bud.
Yeah.
I'm here for you. I got you. You know what I mean? But cutting that out. What niggas need that part. But you're funny, though. So then all this happens, and you take a hiatus.
I did.
Why? You took a long ass hiatus.
Do I go into the details?
You tell us your mindset,
because
there you go.
I was not fully centered at the time spiritually, and I got into a toxic relationship, which I won't go too much into that.
We don't need to.
Yeah. But just to be honest with people, I got into a toxic relationship. I wasn't really feeling like myself, and I just was essentially, I took myself away from everything that really mattered to me and that was good for me and made me happy, and just kind of like, like just shielded myself off from the world. And a part of me for a long time felt like I had regrets about that, but now I'm realizing that going through that experience had taught me so much, and I came back even stronger, and now I know exactly what I want out of this, and I know what to do and what not to do.
Yeah,
I learned, you know, and I'm being super. It's a whole different thing I'm coming back with right now. Like I feel like myself more than ever.
No, and I mean, I think I only reason I asked is because, like, you did go through. I mean, I think when you took that hiatus, at some point is when we met each other, and then I'm working on it, but like, I remember the whole thing, and but I'm like, you got right back on a horse, and you've been on it. And that's why I'm so kind of happy now to see that you're not just kind of lackadaisical about it, and then you dropped 3 new songs. Or was it 4? The 3 or 4? Cause you
It's
did.
been like, I think I dropped 4 or 5 songs this year, which I'm trying to drop once. Yeah, it is for me because I'm the type that will drop, let it sit, drop, let it sit. But I'm learning time is just, like it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop for you. It's not like, okay, let me stop for you while you take your time. Nope. Like you got to push through it. Just stay consistent. So even this month, like I just put out a song yesterday called I'm Kind of Antisocial. And
Great title.
Yeah, I've
been
feeling
dropped early
that
too,
lately.
right?
It did. It dropped a week early, 2 days into Mercury in retrograde, and I'm blaming it on that. I don't care.
Shout out to Distro Kid.
Yeah, nope, not Distro Kid. Mercury in retrograde. Great. Because I never had an issue dropping with Distro Kid, and literally it just dropped 2 days after I put it in to the system. And I know I scheduled it for later because it will warn you like, oh, the song might not drop on time and it didn't say that, you know what I mean? Unless maybe I was tired and forgot. Don't think I did though, but it's okay because everything kind of flows this way for a reason. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is supposed to happen, and it's dropping a little bit before the end of August, but I just wanted to drop every single month. So I was like, I'm just gonna drop this. And I've been doing visuals because I feel like visuals really have people associate the song with something that me personally, at least when I watch a music video, I end up liking the song more or having something to associate it with that makes me want to listen to it. And I feel like the way that things move so quickly nowadays, visuals are really important.
I feel like Jaden Smith has that fucking thing tied up. Like that's a really good way of putting it.
Wait, like, elaborate. I don't know.
Because like I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna sound crazy. I really enjoy Jaden Smith's music, but his videos, mind you, the kid is rich, but still, the videos next to like how the songs are, they make the song.
He does
better.
Make good music. Yeah, for sure.
But you, on your hand too, you have a very strong aesthetic. As someone that has worked with you before and I haven't finished the video yet, but it's on the way though, guys. It's a great video, trust me. And but it makes sense because the video you put out that has like the video game thing, like you have a very strong aesthetic that I feel like it's in like with your music, and then on top of like how you want your visuals to look like that, and then even like down to like your pictures that you post, just like that. Like you're really staying on brand. Like the brand recognition thing is in full effect. Like you know what I'm saying, and I'm
just being myself too, and channeling like everything that
because I was gonna ask
in my mind.
Yes, I was gonna ask like, how did you like? Was this something that was premeditated, or is this just 100% pretty much how you are?
I would say partially. I'm not particular, maybe a little bit, but I just know what I want and I know what I'm envisioning. So I have a vision for how I want things to flow for me and how I want them to not be perceived in the sense where I think everyone should perceive me the same because everybody has a different form of perception. But I'm trying to get out this message and I want it to be felt not just with my music, but with my everything. You know what I mean? And I get told that a lot, like what you just said. So it's just me being direct and also intentional. That's the word. I'm intentional with it. So when I do a photo shoot or I wear something, I'm pretty intentional with things, like the details of it, you know?
Or how you're going to roll it out with the pictures and things like that and all that.
And the colors and the flow and the feeling.
You got to match the hair too.
Yeah. I feel like the hair is just kind of a part of me. Like whatever I'm comfortable in, it just matches naturally.
So it's like a parrot. Like it's just a pirate and a parrot. Like the
pirate
like wears all black, but the parrot's all colorful. It's like, like the parrot's a part of the outfit, guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's an everyday life. You know what I'm saying?
It's just who I am at this point.
Oh, God. So, there's one more question before we get out of here, but I'm so curious. So, when are we getting an album or something? Like, what are we doing? Like, you keep loosey-goosing us.
I know.
And I can speak for the Reddish Blu cult that we're tired.
I know they are tired, and I've honestly stopped talking about it just because it's been a thing like past few years. I'm not gonna lie, where I'm like, I'm dropping this project on this date, or like I'm gonna drop it this month, and then it doesn't happen. Yeah. Which partially that's not because of me. Some of the people I work with, they're huge perfectionists. Love them. They know who they are. It's a few of them. where like they just want it to be absolutely perfect, and I get that because I'm the same way, but it's delayed the process of things. And in my mind, this is where I've kind of changed it up a little bit. Instead of being so like intentional, like it has to be this song before the song, it has to be this way. I'm kind of just doing it, because the more you overthink things, the less they flow naturally. Believe it or not, the opposite of what you think it is in your head, because that's just how your thoughts get to you. It's just, it will delay me a little bit. So I'll have an idea, I want to drop a project, and then other people aren't done with like mixing it, or like there's just some songs that need to be finished, and then it doesn't happen, and I'm already moved on to the next thing, because I'm like, okay, this isn't like my vision right now. Like I want to move on to this. Like I'm past this point in my life. Like I made the song about a situation that I went through a while ago now, and I want to move on from that.
Yeah.
But then this other part of me is like, okay, people still deserve to hear that. You know what I mean? Because they've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
So I can't really promise exactly when I'm going to drop a project, but I would like to drop a body of work before the end of the year, like at least an EP or something.
What's the name?
Don't have that yet. That's something that
you tried it, guys. You tried
I'll
it.
come up with last minute usually. Like, or it will just come to me and I'm like, that's it. But it can't be something that like I overthink too much. It just has to come to my mind. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. That resonates fully. You know what I mean? So not sure. Do want to drop a body of work before the end of the year, maybe 2. And then definitely next year there will be a project. I can promise that because it's gonna happen
At this point.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah, exactly.
But there'll be something for sure.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. She promised. So if you don't, get in her ass. Be on her comments. Everybody go to her comments, like, drop. In capitals. Just drop.
Yeah, go ahead. Put the pressure on me.
Make her.
I need it.
Yeah, she needs it. No cap. Well, guys, look, man. We're just about out of time, but this has been beautiful.
This was
guys.
Great. This was great. It was. I had so much fun.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm just gonna say it, just for the record. She was one of the first people to let me do my project. This in her very beautiful house that
I was in at the time.
That she was in at the time, and I mean, I'm grateful that you allowed me to use the space and stuff like that to help me out.
Of course, bud.
It's always good, and always need to remember have friends that believe in you just as much.
I wish I could have more at the time, honestly, with our schedules. But
it was crazy. It was crazy, but it's okay. Like I said, I was never the fact the ones that I did do over there and the ones that came out. I'm like
they did good.
They did great. So it's like I'm happy with it. And those are like I think one of like the first. Couple. They were like because it was gonna be another idea. I'm not gonna say. You remember what it was before? Remember it was me and your friend in the kitchen. We were talking about when we had shot. Because I shot your cover art in the back.
I know. Yeah.
So
which was supposed to be the
Which was supposed to be the project.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will be though. I might still drop that. I think. Yeah, I think me and Branches are probably gonna drop that project with newer songs and incorporate some of the older songs we put out. So that's a whole other thing because that's like a collab. You know what I mean? Like there's just it's like.
Okay, I mean, you gotta pick the right ones. You know what I'm saying? At that point.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. But I just want to let you know I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for coming on here. Thanks for coming on talking to me, but I really do. Any last words before we get out of here?
I hope everybody's having an amazing day. I do.
Or night. I just hope it's amazing.
And I hope you believe in yourself and you accomplish all the things that you want to accomplish. And that you don't give up.
At all. Well, guys, this has been Life and Times with
Reddish Blu.
Bow.
Do you wanna hop on